This is a key to topic 29, part B, worksheet 1. And in these problems, you're looking at using the compound interest formulas. And basically, I'm asking you to write the setup and then give me the future value or accumulated value. And notice the directions. It says round to the nearest cent, which is the hundredths place. Okay, so let's look at number 1. So number 1, it says this: find the future value of an investment of $12,000 for 4 years at an interest rate of 7% compounded semi-annually. So number 1, you're going to use this formula. And so the formula you're going to use will be A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT power. So your setup, so when I ask for the setup, when I ask for this, and basically you're going to take all of your information and you're going to put it into the formula. So you're going to use this formula as your setup. So it's asking for the future value. So the future value is this A here, the accumulated value, the amount of future value. So you're going to say A equals, that's going to be your setup. P is the principal. So the original amount, which is $12,000, you're going to say A equals 12,000 times 1 plus R. The rate is 7%. So, but you got to write as a decimal, so 0.07 divided by N. N is a number of times as your interest being compounded annually per year. So semi-annually, that's twice per year. So N is 2 divided by, and then your exponent is N times T. So this N is the same as this N, so that's going to be 2 times, and then the time is in years, and in this case it's 4 years. So 4 times 2. So that's your setup. All right. And so now you're going to put your future value and you're going to round to the nearest cent. So the future value, or A, future value, which is A in this case, will equal, and then you just use your calculator. So on your calculator, you're going to say this. You're going to write out what you see. So you're going to say 12,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.07 divided by 2, close the parentheses, and you're going to raise that. Now, you can say raise to the 8th power, but some students just want to be on the safe side, especially there are decimals here, and they're going to put this in parentheses, and you're going to say 2 times 4. Don't forget to close that parentheses, though. That's important. And then press equal, and that's your future value. Now, to the nearest cent, so remember the nearest cent is 2 digits behind the decimal point, so that's where that 0 is. But since it's 8, the thousandths place is 5 or greater, you're going to add 1 to that 0. So the answer is going to be 15801, so $15,801.71. All right, so that's your future value. Okay, number 2. So notice this is what the setup looks like, and this is your answer to the nearest cent. Okay, so number 2, this is what you're told this time. You're asked to find the accumulated value. Accumulated value and future value are the same thing. All right, so just keep that in mind. I even tell you that, future value. So this time your principal is $7,000. The time is 3.5 years and is being compounded quarterly. So that means 4 times per year. So N is 4 and the interest rate is 5%. All right, so your setup. So here's your setup. Set up. So you're going to say A equals the principal, which remember is $7,000. So 7,000 times 1 plus the rate, 5%, so 0.05. And remember, N is 4, so 0.05 divided by 4. Remember, you must convert your rate to the percent to a decimal. Raised to the N, which is 4, times the time, which is 3.5. So times 4 times 3.5. Okay? All right, so now we're going to use our calculator. So the accumulated value, so A is going to equal. All right, so on your calculator, you're going to say 7,000. So 7,000 times, in parentheses, 1 plus 0.05, 0.05 divided by 4, close the parentheses. You're going to raise that to the, in parentheses, 4 times 3.5, close the parentheses, and press equal. So, so your accumulated value, your future value will be this amount. So remember the nearest cent, so 8's in the hundreds place, so you can look at the thousands. Since 3 is less than 5, the 8's going to stay as 8. So we're going to get 8329.68. All right, so $8,329.68. All right, so that's number 2. All right, number 3. So number 3, you're asked this. It says, find the future value of investment. So this time it's $4,500, 5.25 years, 6.5% compounded continuously. All right, now let's talk about this continuously. The formula you're going to use here, since it's continuously, is this. So you're going to use this formula. A equals P times E to the RT. So that's a formula you're going to use if it says your interest is being compounded continuously. All right, so your setup. So this is your setup. You can say A equals P. So your principal is $4,500. So 4,500 times E raised to the rate, which is 6.5%. So 0.065 times the time, which is 5.25. So 5.25. All right, and now so there's your setup. And so now you're going to use your calculator. So you're going to say 4,500 times E. And remember, you got to use your calculator's E. So to get to mine, I got to press second ln. See, and you're going to raise. So your exponent is going to be this right here. So you can say 0.065. Don't forget parentheses. Times 5.25. Close the parentheses, and then press equal, and we get this amount. All right. So that's going to be 6330.17. To the nearest cent. Since nearest cent, so 7's in the cents place, so the hundreds place. I go look at the thousands place, so since that's less than 5, 7 stays 7. All right. Okay, so that's number 3. Okay, let's look at number 4. So in number 4, we have this. All right, so it's number 4. All right, so it says, find the future value of investment of $800 for 15 years, interest rates 3.5%, compounded monthly. All right, so since it's being compounded monthly, I'm going to use the formula we used for the first 2. So this is what I'm going to use. Remember, you only use this one. You only use this formula here if it's being compounded continuously. All right, so I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to write it out. So I'm going to use this formula. A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT power. Okay, so the future value will be, the principal in this case is 800 times the times 1 plus the rate, which is 3.5% right here. But I have to convert that percent to a decimal, so that's 0.035. So that's monthly, so that's 12, all raised to the NT, so that's 12 times, and then the number of years is 15. So 12 times 15 in parentheses. So there's your setup. So this is a setup right here. So there's your setup. So your answer will be approximately equal to, your accumulated value will be approximately equal to, all right, so let's see what we get. So we're going to say 800 times 1 plus 0.035 divided by 12, close the parentheses. I'm going to raise that into parentheses, 12 times 15, just like that, close the parentheses, and then press equal, and you get 1351.33. So notice the 4 is less than 5, so 3 stays 3. All right, so there's your accumulated values. That's number 4. And then number 5. Okay, so notice that it says in problems 1 through 4, show the setup and all that, and then round to the nearest cent. Number 5, though, it says, how much should be invested now? So now you're looking for the principal. If you want the future value to be $6,000 compounded monthly at an interest rate of 4% for 5 years, and then round the principal to the nearest dollar. All right, so the rounding's different now for number 5. So let's go ahead and do the setup. So since it says being compounded monthly, you're going to use this formula again. So I'm going to use this formula. A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT power. And so our setup, All right, so notice the accumulated value. I want the accumulated value to be 6,000 this time. So this is your future value. So you can say 6,000 equals the principal, which is what you're trying to find. You want to know how much did you invest now, times 1 plus R. The rate is 4%, so that's 0.04, divided by the number of times being compounded a year, so monthly, so it'll be 12, raised to the 12 times, and then the time is 5, so 5 years. All right, and so there's your setup. Okay, so what you got to do now is this. So there's your setup right here. Okay, so now you got to get P by itself. So what you need to do is use your calculator and figure out what this part is on your calculator. So in your calculator, you're going to say this. You're going to say 1 in parentheses, 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, close the parentheses, raised to the parentheses 12 times 5, close the parentheses, and press equal. So notice you have all these digits. So the more digits you have, the better your approximation for P. That we've discussed that in those lessons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 6,000 equals. I'm going to write as I'm going to just go ahead and write it, all of these that I see. Now remember it continues on, but this is as far as I can see. So I'm going to say 1.220996594 P. So this right here is this set of digits times P. Okay, so now I'm going to solve for P. So here's what I have. I have 6,000 equals 1.220996594 P. So to get P by itself, remember the coefficient of P, so you multiply P by this number. So to get P by itself, you can divide by that number. Both sides. Okay, and then so that divided by itself is 1. 1 times P is P. So what the amount I need to invest now is going to be, and I just divide this out. So 6,000. So you're going to say 6,000. Oops. 6,000 divided by 1.220996594. Press equal. Now remember, it said the nearest dollar. All right, so the nearest dollar is the ones place. So you got to look at the tens place. Since this is 0 less than 5, the 4 stays 4. So your answer is going to be $4,914. And so that's how much you're going to have to invest now. So that way in 5 years, you will have $6,000. All right. Okay, so that is the key to the worksheet 29, part B.